I saw the text message received on my husband Joseph's mobile phone. He had booked a luxurious 10-day tour of Europe during the National Day holiday. I smiled, as he had always liked to play this kind of mysterious surprise game. However, the surprise never came until the National Day. He told me that he had to go on a business trip. As a result, I saw the WeChat moments posted by his secretary. The lover's kiss under the Bridge of Sighs in Venice. You kissed my lips and won my heart. The accompanying picture was a hot, kissing photo of Joseph and his secretary Sarah. I saved the picture and sent it to the Joseph family group chat. Congratulations on getting a new daughter-in-law. The Joseph family group chat exploded. Everyone popped up one after another. My mother-in-law Mary, is this a misunderstanding? Joseph's cousin. My brother really knows how to have fun. My aunt immediately at the cousin. Kids, don't talk nonsense. My sister-in-law, why does this woman look so familiar? Joseph's cousin. It's the secretary of my cousin, that Sarah. Everyone then fell silent. After a while, Joseph sent a message in the group. Sarah lost a game of truth or dare and had to post a kissing photo. I'm her boss and couldn't bear to see the little girl embarrassed, so I helped her out. Everyone just drop a. Joseph called my mobile phone soon after. Scarlett, can you stop being like a child? How could you send such a photo to the family group? You know the Joseph family is a big family, and our grandparents are very traditional. Hurry up and withdraw the photo. I said calmly. Is this photo something that can't be seen? I think it's a good photo with a nice caption. Joseph began to sound impatient. I told you it was a game she lost. What are you fussing about with the little girl? I sat up straight and said seriously. She kissed my husband. Of course I'm going to fuss about it, even if it was just an innocent situation. If you didn't have that intention, you wouldn't have allowed her to do this. Joseph, I hope you don't do anything wrong. His voice softened. Okay, I'll definitely pay attention next time. I'll bring you a gift when I come back from the business trip. I looked at the time and asked him, how many days until you come back from the business trip? He told me the time, which was exactly the time of the 10-day tour arranged by the travel agency. Joseph had finally betrayed our marriage. A few days later, Joseph came back, and I went to the airport to pick him up. It wasn't that I was clingy. Today was the Joseph family reunion, and we, as a married couple, had to show up together. Joseph pushed a cart full of luggage out, and there was a delicate Sarah following behind. Seeing me, Sarah timidly took a step back. Mrs. Joseph gently hugged me and kissed my cheek. Honey, you've been working hard. There was still a faint scent of a woman on his breath. Maybe he had just kissed someone. I turned my face away and saw a red mark on his shirt collar. I remained silent. Joseph looked calm. Honey, let's send Sarah off first and then go home together. As he said that, he casually opened the front passenger door, explaining that Sarah got carsick. Sarah sat in the front passenger seat and glanced at me, looking cautious. President Joseph, maybe I should just take a taxi by myself. Joseph held my hand and said domineeringly, it's so dangerous for a little girl like you to be alone at night. It's on the way to send you. On the way, it's more than 10 kilometers out of the way. If you say it's on the way, then so be it. My gaze met Sarah's in the car mirror. There was a sense of rivalry, a knowing look, and the thoughts of women. I lowered my eyes and said softly, were it just the two of you on the business trip? Joseph said no. Other colleagues took other flights. Before getting out of the car, Sarah handed me a box and tilted her head. Mrs. Joseph, this is a gift for you. President Joseph said you like shawls. I hope you like it. I just don't know if the color suits you. Joseph chuckled. Mary is a bit older. She doesn't like cute colors like you young girls. This is just right. I felt a bit choked up when I heard that, and let out a soft sigh. As soon as the car door closed, I sat up straight and moved a bit away from Joseph. He frowned. What's wrong? I handed him a mirror and let him look at himself. He soon noticed the lipstick mark and frowned a bit, but explained to me just now when we got off the plane. Sarah didn't stand firmly and I helped her. Maybe that's when it got on me. I took a deep breath and turned to look at him, with a bit of sadness and an indescribable feeling. Joseph, we've been married for 7 years. In the past, there was never a situation where a secretary couldn't stand firmly and got lipstick on you. Since when did female secretaries start accidentally spraying perfume on you and getting lipstick on you? He was silent for a while and then said apologetically, "Okay, I'll pay attention in the future." I felt a bit suffocated. Although our marriage was a business alliance, we had dated for 2 years before getting married. It wasn't that there was no affection, but now, after 7 years of marriage, I felt it was coming to an end. Before getting out of the car to meet the Joseph family members, he grabbed my arm looking a bit serious. "Are you angry?" "Why?" "Because I didn't accompany you during the National Day and went on a business trip with my secretary." "When did you become so unreasonable? Starting to be as willful as a little girl, you know." The Joseph family is at a crucial time of transformation. I really don't have time to guess what you're thinking. I flew abroad and was busy for 10 days. I'm really tired. You should be a qualified Mrs. Joseph, not the person who shows her emotions on her face. Like now, I suddenly got impatient with playing this game with him and shook off his hand. A luxurious 10-day tour of Europe during the National Day. A business trip. Joseph, am I the only fool in the world? Was the kiss under the bridge of sighs sweet? Do you like her heart? I pushed open the car door and left, without looking back. After playing the perfect couple tonight, let's separate for a while and calm down separately. After the family reunion, I was so exhausted that I almost collapsed. Pretending to be a perfect couple was both physically and emotionally draining. When I got home, I took a bath. After coming out in my pajamas and applying body lotion, Joseph gently hugged me from behind and coaxed softly, "Honey, I'm sorry. I'll never pay attention to her again. If you don't like her, I'll transfer her to a branch company. Is that okay?" I broke free from his embrace. "Joseph, don't hug me," with the scent of other women and lipstick marks. Just as I broke free, he hugged me again. "I'm sorry, will you accompany me to take another bath? You can skin me alive if you want." As he said that, he kissed me. I was just about to slap him when his mobile phone rang out. I glanced at it. The caller ID was Little Cutie. On the phone was Sarah's cute and tearful, "President Joseph, what should I do? There are some data errors in the documents I brought back. I don't know how to correct them. We have to sign the contract tomorrow. What should I do?" Her voice was full of fear, and also the dependence of a young girl on her superior. Joseph frowned and replied, "What's wrong with you? How could you be so careless? Wait at home, I'll come right away." After hanging up the phone, he turned around and put on his coat, telling me this contract is very important. I have to supervise it myself. You go to sleep first. Don't wait for me. After saying that, he pushed the door and left in a hurry, without even remembering to put on his scarf. Despite the cold wind, I sat quietly on the couch and heard the notification sound on my mobile phone. I clicked on it and saw Sarah's latest WeChat moments. "The most handsome men are those who are serious, whether they're doing things or doing something else." The photo above showed Joseph painting Sarah's fingernails under the lamp. My heart that had been hanging finally died. I locked the door, put on an eye mask and earplugs. He definitely wouldn't be coming back tonight. The next morning, as I was having breakfast, the maid asked me, "Isn't Mr. going to have breakfast?" I put down my cutlery and thought for a moment. Maybe you don't need to make breakfast for him anymore. I don't think he'll be having much time to eat at home in the future. I picked up my mobile phone and clicked on it. Sure enough, Sarah had posted another photo, full of the flavor of daily life on her WeChat moments. Joseph was sitting at a roadside stall, with soy milk and steamed dumplings on the table. The steam was rising on his face, making it look a bit hazy. There were 2 pairs of chopsticks and 2 bowls on the table. The caption: "The happiness of the earthly life is being with you." This public display of affection just wouldn't stop. How picky was Joseph about food? He was allergic to dairy products and peanuts. If he ate something unclean, he would get gastroenteritis immediately. Our family chef had higher standards than those of a 5-star hotel. Instead of having a breakfast comparable to that of a 5-star hotel, he went to eat at a roadside stall. It seemed that he was blinded by love and had lost his mind. I finally couldn't resist the urge and gave it a like. Soon after this, WeChat Moments post was deleted. My predictions soon came true. Joseph was sent to the hospital due to vomiting and diarrhea. When I arrived at the hospital, Joseph was lying there with his eyes narrowed, looking pale while getting an injection. His secretary was crying beside him, her eyes red and swollen, looking 100 times more sad than I. His wife, Joseph, was still in a coma. When Sarah saw me, she immediately stood up and said softly, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Joseph, it's all my fault." I reached out to stop her. "Of course it's your fault. You played a big part in getting him into the hospital. Have you thought about how you're going to explain to the Joseph family members how you managed to get Joseph into the hospital all by yourself?" "Scarlett, it's not Sarah's fault." At this time, Joseph woke up and said weakly. Sarah rushed over and stood by the bedside, her eyes red like a little rabbit's. "I really didn't know you couldn't eat roadside stalls. I'll make it for you myself next time." "Is that okay?" Joseph stopped her from saying more. "You go back first. You don't need to take care of me here." I stood up from the sofa and stopped Sarah from leaving. "No, let her take care of it. There should be no one who can take better care of him than she does. I have things to attend to in my company and don't have time to stay in the hospital." Joseph quickly. "I was busy modifying data all night last night. Sarah felt bad about it this morning and invited me to have breakfast. Don't misunderstand." I picked up my bag to leave, shaking my head to stop his explanation. "It's your Joseph family's business to keep a useless secretary. It has nothing to do with me." But my husband spent the whole night modifying data with another young girl and ended up in the hospital this morning because of some so-called happy moments. I can't help but be unhappy, so I don't want to see you again today. Behind me, Sarah's worried voice. "It's all my fault. How about I go and explain? Let Mrs. Joseph not be angry." Joseph comforted her in a hoarse, "Don't cry. If you keep crying, you'll really look like a little rabbit." In the evening, because of all kinds of concerns and hints from my mother-in-law, it's really difficult to be the daughter-in-law of a wealthy family. Fortunately, I won't be in this position for long. Finally, I still brought the nourishing soup to the hospital. The door of the VIP ward was slightly ajar. I walked to the door and was just about to push it open when I heard the voices inside. "Joseph, I kissed you because I really love you. I don't mind that you're married, and I don't ask you to marry me either. I just want to be by your side. Please don't transfer me away, okay? Please don't abandon me." The voice was so delicate and heartbreaking. As she was crying, I peeked through the crack of the door. Sarah was leaning on Joseph, with tears all over her face, looking up at him as if looking at a god, with admiration and worship all over her face. She gently lifted her face and kissed his tender lips. Please, finally there was a response. From a gentle tentative kiss to a deep, long and intoxicating one. They were so immersed in it that they couldn't extricate themselves. Clanging, the thermos flask in my hand dropped directly onto the floor, making a loud noise, and startling the two people who were kissing passionately inside. They immediately separated. Seeing me standing at the door, Joseph was stunned. Sarah blushed and shrank behind Joseph. Joseph yanked out the needle on his hand and jumped out to grab me. To explain, I slapped him hard, hitting his face to one side. "Get away from me." Sarah rushed over and stood in front of him. "Mrs. Joseph, how could you hit people? It's all my fault. If you want to hit someone, hit me instead." Looking at the two of them, I felt a wave of nausea. I didn't want to say another word. I turned around and left Scarlett. "It's not what you saw." I spun around abruptly. "It's not what I saw." "Then what was it?" "A 5-minute passionate kiss." "What do you have to say to me? That you have a good colleague relationship? Or that you were comforting a scared little girl?" "Don't touch me, Joseph. You make me sick. I'll ask the lawyers of the Scarlett family to contact you." "Joseph, I want a divorce from you." Joseph chased me all the way into the elevator. I hit him hard with my bag. "Get away from me. Don't stay in the same elevator with me. I even dislike your breath when I'm in the same space with you. I think you're dirty." Joseph's face was as pale as a sheet. He stood blankly at the elevator entrance, watching the elevator doors slowly close, and seeing the disappointed look in my eyes that seemed to want to kill him. When my elevator reached the first floor, Joseph, still in his hospital gown, was panting as he ran down the stairs all the way and stopped me at the hospital entrance. "Honey, I don't want a divorce. Don't say things in anger. We can't get divorced. Listen to me explain." I shook him off. "A misunderstanding. You want me to forgive you." "Which part of this do you think you have the nerve to say?" "Joseph, I'm so disappointed in you." Joseph held onto my hand tightly. "No, I admit I was wrong. I was out of my mind. Maybe I felt a bit bored. She's young and fresh." I was momentarily bewitched and lost my head. "But Scarlett, don't cry. When I saw you just now, I finally realized completely that the person I love the most is only you. What I had with her was just a passing fling." I glared at him coldly. "A passing fling? Your fling seems to have no end." "Joseph, are you an actor? Why don't you go and be an actor? The next Best Actor award would surely be yours." "What did you say?" "You and I were just a passing fling." Sarah calmly took the elevator and chased after us. When the elevator doors opened, she happened to hear Joseph's words. Her tears fell like beads as she stared straight at Joseph. "Were all the things you said last night lies? Were the words you said when you were in bed with me, that you loved me, also lies? Were the words that you said she was boring lies? And were the words that you said you'd divorce her and marry me also lies? What am I supposed to do? I love you so much. I really would die without you." She was crying so hard that Joseph didn't have time to comfort her. Seeing me leaving, he was about to chase after me immediately. Then there was a commotion behind him. Sarah fainted softly on the ground behind him. Joseph rushed over and held her in his arms. Then he hurriedly looked around for me and found that I had already opened the car door and driven away. Scarlett. Joseph shouted loudly, but no one answered him anymore. My hot temper was inherited from my father. I'm always decisive. When I returned to the home I shared with Joseph, I called a professional moving company and started to clean up and pack all my things. In the Joseph family, the old servants of the Joseph family were running around. In a panic, they called Joseph, but his phone was off. Then they called my mother-in-law and father-in-law. I didn't answer their calls. I just sent a video in the family group chat of the Joseph family. This time, no one came out to say anything. It was a high-definition video of Joseph and Sarah's 5-minute passionate kiss. The emotions and expressions were all very vivid, hot, and passionate. I sent a message. Doesn't such love deserve my blessing for them? Then I pressed the button to exit the group chat. From today on, I'm no longer a member of the Joseph family and have nothing to do with the Joseph family. Joseph had his phone off and knew nothing about this. He didn't know that outside his little love universe, the whole world was in an uproar. When I returned home, my father jumped up and wanted to go to the hospital to break Joseph's legs. My brother, with a cold face, called the partnered companies and threatened that anyone who did business with the Joseph family would become the enemy of the Scarlett family. From then on, the legal team of the Scarlett family was busy all night, calculating our pre-marital and post-marital properties and drafting the divorce agreement. Meanwhile, Sarah was still innocently posting on her WeChat moments. I like to see you wake up beside me in the morning. The photo showed Joseph's sleeping face. It could be seen that the two of them had a quite satisfying sleep. I was quite happy to see this. I quickly saved all these things and gave them to the lawyers together. I really like how young girls are so straightforward about love, like to show off and post everything on WeChat moments. It's so convenient to find evidence. Joseph didn't want a divorce, but it was no longer up to him. The division of cooperation between the two families was underway. My father and my father-in-law were discussing and handling it. The division of cooperation between the two groups was no small matter. After Joseph was discharged from the hospital, he came to my house every day to see me. Each time he was driven away by my brother, and he wasn't even allowed to enter the door. However, he still insisted on coming unfailingly. My mother couldn't bear to see it and said to him with a disappointed look, "You say you love Mary, but you were flirting with others and betrayed her. If you don't like Mary, why are you doing this now? What's the point?" He knelt in front of my mother and begged her, "Mom, let me see Scarlett. I'm sincere about her. I was really confused and made mistakes again and again. Please let me see Scarlett. She can't not give me a chance to make amends. I'll explain things to her properly." My mother sighed and shook her head. "Go back," Mary said. "She won't see you again unless you sign the divorce papers." It was useless for him to kneel to death in front of my house. I wasn't even at home. I went on a spontaneous trip with my best friend. My best friend tilted her head to look at me with a twinkle in her eyes and said with a, "You were so silly staying at home after getting married. You don't know how wonderful the outside world is." We went to see the snow on the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, went to Shangri-La, and went to Qinghai Lake. I was won over by the beautiful scenery, and all the gloom in my heart was swept away, leaving only a good mood. The answers are on the journey, and freedom is in the wind. I firmly refused to be a fool for love. During this period, Sarah was clearly appearing frequently as Joseph's girlfriend. In the WeChat moments that my friends sent me to see, the figures of Joseph and Sarah could often be seen out I found it a bit funny. Joseph must have lost his mind. He refused to divorce on one hand, and was wandering around with his cheating girlfriend on the other. Was he afraid that others wouldn't know he was cheating? When I returned to Hailing 2 months later, I was surprised to see Joseph at the airport. He was holding a bouquet of flowers and waiting for me. He walked up to me with a gentle look on his face. Honey, I took a step back and looked at him coldly. There's no need for this between us, Joseph. Why haven't you signed the divorce papers? After 2 months. Didn't you have a great time playing with your little lover? Every day, why are you dragging me? Wouldn't it be better to let each of us go our own way? Joseph's eyes dodged a bit and he looked a bit guilty. We've been husband and wife for so many years. Don't you really have any feelings for the past? I really need you. I laughed. You don't need me. What you need is a wife who can show up in public and earn you face. And I'm tired of being in this position. What he wanted was my identity as the eldest daughter of the Scarlett family, which could earn him face in the Joseph family and make him look good when socializing outside. Where could he find another wife like me? If I hadn't been attracted by his looks back then, I wouldn't have been such a big fool. Now these women he's with, apart from having fun, what else can they do? I pushed my suitcase and walked past him sideways, leaving without looking back, no matter how ugly his face looked. The next day after I returned home, Sarah came to me and asked to meet me. I didn't even need to guess. I knew this kind of meeting was just about persuading me to get divorced quickly, but I still went. Before she could even open her mouth, I raised my hand to stop her. I want to divorce Joseph more than you think. So you'd better have a way to persuade him to sign the papers. Otherwise, how are you going to be Mrs. Joseph? Walk on others' paths and leave them no way to go. Sarah was so choked by my words that she couldn't say a thing. For a long while, she lowered her head, pursed her lips, and gently twisted her fingers in front of her. Then after a long while, she summoned up the courage and said, I know you won't get back together with him and are going to divorce him. I'm not here to talk about that. It's because Joseph has another woman now. I was stunned. After thinking for a long time, I burst out laughing. And then why are you telling me this? Expecting me to help you deal with the mistress. Don't worry, I didn't even take you the mistress. Seriously, let alone the 4th or 5th mistresses. In my eyes, you're all the same. I don't care about any of you. Let me tell you the truth. You're worthless in his eyes. You don't understand the life of the rich. They'll only marry someone from a similar family background. Do you think the Cinderella story will happen to you? Stop dreaming, little girl. Being too naive only makes you look stupid. A wealthy and powerful family will never accept a daughter-in-law like you with no family background. You got the position by being a mistress, and you're good for nothing. Sarah broke down and shouted loudly. But I'm pregnant with Joseph's child. But I haven't seen him for a week. I poked at his phone and knew he had someone else outside. He likes another woman now. After saying that, she covered her face and cried, full of grievances. What should I do? I can't find him anywhere. I have nothing now. I only have him. Seeing this shot in Frida on my face, she suddenly looked at me suspiciously. Could it be that you hired someone to pretend to be a vixen to seduce Joseph? How could you be so vicious? Since you can't win him back on your own, you find someone else to disgust me. Looking into her unwilling eyes, I said coldly, Are you out of your mind? Seeing my expression, she was even more certain that she had guessed the truth. Pointing at me angrily, she said, You're so mean, Scarlett. I'm telling you, if I'm not having a good time, neither you nor that vixen will have an easy life. As if she herself wasn't a vixen. I was impatient to listen any further. I stood up and said, "I'm not interested in your affairs with Joseph at all. I'm not as boring as you. Please don't bother me again in the future." After saying that, I turned around and left. I underestimated Sarah. She hired someone to follow and secretly photographed Joseph and that girl, and found out that the girl was actually still an undergraduate student. She found out the girl's school and major, and posted all the intimate photos of the girl and Joseph on the official forum of the school, demanding an explanation from the school. It's really despicable for an undergraduate female student to seduce a married man. The woman was called in by the school leaders for a talk, asking her to stop this unethical behavior immediately and make a public apology. The girl didn't agree, having finally hooked up with Joseph, a big shot. How could she give up? As a result, to quell the scandal, the school expelled her. Joseph called my home. He sighed on the Scarlett. I said that as long as you're willing to give me a chance, we can start over, and I'll cut off all other relationships. Since you're not willing to give me a chance, why did you take action to suppress a young girl? Nancy is only 20 years old. She doesn't know anything. I felt the blood rush to my head. I was so angry that I almost cursed out loud. Joseph, make it clear. When I said I thought you were dirty, it means that even hearing your name makes me sick. Do you think I still care about your affairs? Do you think I'll bother to deal with your mistresses? You think too highly of yourself also. My lawyer has collected all the evidence of your affairs. If you don't sign the divorce agreement soon, don't blame me if I come up with more conditions later. Do you want to leave the marriage with nothing? Finally, Joseph signed the divorce agreement. 1 month later, we were officially divorced. Joseph looked at me with some regret and some indescribable feelings. He finally just smiled and said, "Let me take you home one more time, like when we were dating before. Is that okay?" I took a step back and shook my head. Joseph, I used to like you very much and thought we would grow old together. But we've come to this point. Since we're divorced, let's just leave it at that. There's no need to be entangled anymore. Take care of yourself in the future. I don't know if he understood what I meant. He had a lot of affairs. He thought he could flirt around without getting involved. But he didn't know that some beautiful flowers are poisonous. Sure enough, after Sarah soon learned about Joseph's divorce, she started forcing him to marry her. How could Joseph marry her? It was okay to have a fling with her, but the position of Mrs. Joseph must belong to a lady from a prominent family. Sarah finally understood what I meant. Sarah showed up at the press conference for the 30th anniversary of the Joseph family's group, with her already visible pregnant belly. She stood behind the reporters, grabbed a reporter's microphone and asked, "I'd like to ask President Joseph, are you going to be responsible for the child in your girlfriend's belly?" As soon as this question was asked, all eyes in the room turned to her, and all the cameras were pointed at her face and belly. Joseph's father's face turned black, and Joseph froze with a stiff face and didn't say a word. A bunch of reporters immediately rushed forward to interview President Joseph. "What's your relationship with this lady? I heard she was your former secretary. Did you fall in love after the divorce? Did Miss Sarah get the position by being a mistress? How many months pregnant are you, Miss Sarah?" A female reporter who was a mother asked sharply, "Miss Sarah, your belly is 4 or 5 months big, right?" "President, Joseph has been divorced for less than a month. Did you have an affair during the marriage? Did President Joseph divorce because of you?" The public relations department of the Joseph family immediately stepped in to calm down the interview chaos. Joseph finally regained his senses and said, Of course I'll be responsible. I'm just waiting for an opportunity to plan a proposal. When there's good news, I'll definitely let everyone know. The press conference for the Joseph family's anniversary was broadcast live. This live broadcast was equivalent to directly announcing that the inside story of Joseph's divorce was due to his affair. In the past, the stock would usually rise significantly after the anniversary. But this year, due to Joseph's affair scandal, the stock of the Joseph family plummeted all the way, hitting the limit down for a continuous week, causing the assets of the Joseph family to shrink. By half, the elders of the Joseph family were furious. I heard that Joseph knelt in front of the ancestral tablets for a whole day. Sarah moved into Joseph's house. Although there was no wedding, it was enough to make her feel smug. After losing face at the press conference, Joseph seemed to have given up on himself completely. He actually let loose and changed female companions every day. Sarah did move into Joseph's house, but she didn't know how many houses Joseph had. It was common for her not to see Joseph for a week. Moreover, she forgot that Joseph had more than just her. As a woman, the annual cocktail party of the High Group was attended by all the prominent people in Haichong. Joseph attended the banquet with that Nancy. When Joseph saw me coming in with a male companion, he was stunned. For a moment, he stepped forward to greet us and asked tentatively, "Mary, who is this?" I smiled slightly and said, while holding my companion's arm, "My boyfriend Thomas. He's not from this circle. Maybe we don't have much in common, sorry." Then I dragged my boyfriend away. Joseph took a step forward to block us. "When did you meet? Did you go on a trip with him? Is that why you were in such a hurry to divorce?" Thomas answered him in an elegant and gentle, "Mr. Joseph, I started pursuing Mary just last month. Fortunately, with heaven's blessing, we fell in love at first sight. I'm lucky that she agreed to be my girlfriend." "I think you're overthinking things," I said with a smile. "Mr. Joseph, you have a complicated mind and a complicated life. Look, the tigress at home is coming over." Sure enough, Sarah, who was running over with her big, pregnant belly from a distance, threw the wine in her hand at Nancy. "You shameless vixen! How dare you seduce my husband?" After being expelled from school, Nancy had been living in the house Joseph gave her. She was cute, obedient, and didn't demand a formal status. Joseph liked her more and more. Seeing Sarah's shrewish behavior, Joseph hugged Nancy to avoid the wine being thrown and grabbed Sarah's hands that were about to fight. "What do you want to do?" Nancy hid behind him, said in a frightened and delicate, "Joseph, I'm afraid. Last time, it was her who made me lose my chance to study. Now she wants to hit me. I don't know what to do if you weren't here." Sarah pointed at her and cursed. "Stop pretending to be an innocent flower here. I've used these tricks long ago. You're not qualified to play them in front of me." Then she looked at Joseph, trembling and starting to cry, looking pitiful like pear blossoms in the rain. "Husband, I'm about to give birth to your child soon. But there's no one at home. Do you want me to die along with the baby?" Joseph frowned angrily and said, "The maids and nannies at home were all driven away by you because you were so difficult. Now you're blaming that there's no one at home. You drove them all away yourself. Just stay by yourself." After moving into Joseph's house, Sarah was being difficult in various ways. She bossed the maids around. Every day she complained that this wasn't done well, and that wasn't suitable for a pregnant woman, and needed to be redone, making all the maids in the house complain bitterly. Later, they all went back to the old house and didn't want to stay there anymore. Sarah was so angry that her eyes turned red. She touched her belly and shouted loudly, "When you were coaxing me before, everything I said was right. Now everything I say is being difficult. It's just that you're fickle. Dislike me now that I'm pregnant and find me annoying. Nancy showed her face from behind and said, "Since you know, why do you still come here to be a nuisance?" A hint of a provocative smile appeared at the corners of her mouth, where Joseph couldn't see. Sarah was about to take a step forward, when suddenly she felt a pain in her stomach. Probably having moved her fetus chi, she clutched her stomach and bent over crying. "Joseph, my stomach hurts so much." I pointed at the ground and exclaimed, "Oh, Sarah's water has broken. Call an ambulance quickly." Sure enough, there was a wet patch on the ground beneath Sarah. She had moved her fetus chi and her water had broken. She was going to give birth prematurely. Fortunately, the hotel was fully equipped. The medical staff of the hotel showed up immediately to assist her, and also called an ambulance. After Sarah was taken to the hospital, she gave birth prematurely to Joseph's eldest son. The incident at the banquet caused a huge uproar. It was heard that the Joseph family sent the housekeeper, along with nannies carrying nourishing soup, to take care of Sarah. They also took the little master back to the Gu family and told Sarah, "We're taking the young master back to pay respects to our ancestors." Sarah was very happy. Her child had been recognized by the Joseph family, which proved that she was also recognized. However, she soon couldn't be happy anymore, because Joseph never showed up. And after the child was taken away, he wasn't brought back either. No one from the Joseph family showed up again either. She finally realized that she had been abandoned. She wanted to call the police, but the police said it was normal for the father and grandparents to take the child away. This was a family internal conflict, and they could only mediate. The most important thing was still for them to negotiate on their own. Sarah had just given birth and was suddenly stimulated by this incident. She became hysterical. The doctor said she had postpartum depression and couldn't be stimulated anymore. After being discharged from the hospital, she quietly returned to Joseph's house, neither making a fuss nor causing trouble. The Joseph family didn't treat her badly either. They continued to send people to serve her and told her that, as long as she was obedient and didn't cause trouble, she could always have such a life, as long as she behaved herself. On the day of the child's full moon, the Joseph family held a grand banquet. In the old house, the chefs and staff for the banquet were all from the hotel. I had divorced Joseph, but the Scarlett family still had some cooperation that couldn't be severed from the Joseph family. For the time being, we still had to put on a show. I accompanied my brother to attend the full moon banquet of the Joseph family. When everyone was having a good time, someone, "Hey, where's your precious grandson? Why don't you bring him out to show us?" Joseph's mother was just about to call the nanny, when the nanny rushed out and shouted, "Madam, it's bad. The child is missing." Joseph's mother panicked and was completely stunned. "No one has gone out. How could he be missing? He's only 1 month old. Could he have run away by himself?" Someone screamed in the yard, pointing at the roof of the building and shouting, "There's someone on the roof, holding the child and about to jump." It was Sarah. She had dressed up as a hotel staff member and sneaked into the Joseph family. She found the child and carried him to the roof. Someone was filming. I saw Joseph also rush to the roof. Joseph coaxed her in a trembling voice. "What are you doing, Sarah? Don't be impulsive. Be good. What do you want to do with the child? Calm down quickly." Sarah seemed not to have heard him at all. She was holding the child and humming a song. "Baby, don't be afraid. Mommy is here. Mommy will always be with you." Joseph moved slowly, trying to calm her down, and said, "Sarah, calm down. Tell me what you want. I can satisfy you. Put the child down first." Sarah finally looked at him. She was completely crazy. "Liar. You lied to me. You made me lose my job, my life, and I even had a child. I also lost my freedom, and you never thought of marrying me. Mary was right. You would never marry me. You would only marry a well-bred lady from a noble family. I was just a plaything for you in your spare time. Since I can't get what I want, you won't get what you want either. Don't even think about taking my son away from me. He is my life. I will always be with him, whether it's in heaven or hell." After saying that, she jumped down with the child in her arms. Everyone screamed. Joseph's face turned pale. He rushed forward to try to stop her. But how could he possibly catch her? Sarah and the child fell straight onto the ground, and the scene was in chaos. Sarah and the child died on the spot. I couldn't help but sigh. Poor child. Joseph's mother covered her chest and fainted directly. Joseph rushed downstairs. It seemed that his feet slipped, and he rolled down the stairs hard. He had fractures of different degrees on his body. He seemed not to feel the pain. Dragging his legs, he was helped to come downstairs. He stared blankly at Sarah and the just full moon child on the ground. Suddenly his legs gave way and he knelt on the ground, crying, "Sarah." The death. At the Joseph family's full moon banquet spread. In Hetching, Joseph had an affair with his secretary, got her pregnant, and then abandoned her. He didn't want to marry her, which led to the secretary's postpartum depression. She jumped off the building with the child in her arms. The chief culprit was Joseph, this irresponsible man. The scandal spread, and the stocks of the Joseph family dropped sharply. Again, finally, it was seriously weakened. Its scale was suddenly reduced by more than half, from being one of the top 10 companies in Haichong, and it became a third-rate company. Joseph's father was so angry that he had a cerebral infraction. The company was handed over to Lou Joseph to manage. A series of blows had already crushed Lou Joseph. Later, due to Joseph's stubbornness, wrong decisions, along with the corruption of the Joseph family's management, and serious internal struggles, the Joseph family fell into a bankruptcy crisis. Our Scarlett family took the opportunity to acquire a large number of stocks of the Joseph family, and suddenly became the richest family in Haichong. When I saw Joseph again, it was at my engagement banquet with my boyfriend. He limped over and gave me a gift. I noticed that he was dressed in a cheap suit and looked wan and sallow, with none of the Kellen elegance of a young master. As before, he gave me a gentle hug and said, "Scarlett, be happy." Then he took a deep look at Thomas and said, "Cherish her." Well, don't be a fool like I was. After saying that, he turned around and left. Thomas teased, "Your ex-husband still can't forget you." I was arranging the bouquet in my hand and said with a smile, "Of course, I'm so wonderful. If you don't watch out carefully, this free little bird will fly away soon." Thomas held my hand tightly and said softly, "I'll hold on tight and never let go."